YouTube world. I am back, and today I would like to show you guys what is in my art bin or art box, whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna angle this a little bit better. So when you go take an art class, they expect you to bring certain supplies. Class with some places. In this case, for community college, they're going to ask you to bring your utensils of what they might not have available for you or available for every student, because it is community. They are going to of course have the teacher is going to have things to bring just in case you don't have it, but it's always good to have your own. So I'm going to show you what my class expects within our Drawing 1 course for their supply list, and hopefully you guys will be able to see what I use in my art classes. So I'm gonna open it up. So first thing I'm going to tell you is this is an art bin. Now I got this at Michael's for like $8. It's fairly small, but I like it. It holds the majority of my stuff for the most part. So I'm going to open it up, and it's really cool. It's got like a little buckle, so it kind of clasps, and then it kind of has a handle, and it flips open. So I'm going to stick this here. So the first thing I'm going to show you are chalk pastels. Now I stick them in rice because I tend to break them, and it is good to have them in pieces sometimes, but to be able to not break them and to make them unusable, I stick them in rice in a Ziploc bag because it's beneficial to me. Now, I was using this before, so these are my not chalk. These are my charcoal. In drawing, you can use a ton of charcoal because you're learning how to use it in different type of ways. So I always say, like, grab as much charcoal as you can, and I prefer my preferred piece of charcoal are soft charcoals, which are usually they can be round, depends. You can just read on the packaging and it'll usually tell you if it's compact, if it's soft, if it's hard. And sometimes they come into different like multi-packs, which has a range of different things. So those are always a go-to. My second is I have red and blue mechanical pencil lead. This isn't part of the requirement list, but I like this for the most part. It blocks in, especially if you're taking sketching. I use this in a sketching class that I took a couple semesters ago, and I always kind of have these on hand because you never know when you're going to need, and it's 0.5. The next is ink. So I actually really like this ink. It's called Higgins. It's a fountain pen, and it's India Black. Yeah, India Black ink. The thing about this though is it's not waterproof. So if you're looking for something that is going to stay after the fact that it gets pretty when it gets wet, especially because when you're working with inks and learning how to use them, this one is definitely good to start off with like a wash, but you want to make sure that if you're going to outline it first that you don't use this. It's good to just do the washes and build up to where you're going instead of just building down. And this is definitely affordable. I got this for $8 at Michael's, so I would say that this is something that is going to be extremely useful, especially if you're an artist on a budget like a lot of people are. So I would suggest this. Next thing I have on my list is a handy dandy palette. Now here at your local Michael's store, craft store, this was 99 cents at Michael's. So you are going to need it. As you can see, I have black ink because you will work on, for the most part, like with inks. So I would suggest having a handy palette because it'll help you kind of different, like as you can see there's different kind of washes that I add with different lightings, and then the darkest. So I definitely use one of these for sure in your class. Always keep it on hand because your class might of course have palettes, especially if you're in a lab that also adheres to painting classes like mine does, but this is definitely something you gotta have on hand, especially if you're working on something extra outside of class. You have it on hand at least. Next is an X-Acto knife. Now I don't have to have this exact one. This one I just got from a bookbinding kit. And X-Acto knives, oh, I could have stabbed myself. X-Acto knives are good to have in case you need to cut something out, which I actually had to do. I had to make a stencil out of drawing paper, so it's definitely a go-to if you need something. Always keep an X-Acto knife handy because this is going to save your life, especially with your drawing pencils. And I actually have this roller. This is one of my rollers. So I do use, I have two certain ones. So I have like a normal small metal roller, and then I have a little plasticky one. Sometimes I just kind of grab whatever. I also have an 18-inch ruler in my portfolio. It's metal. You always want to go with metal because metal is going to help you get really good lines, because wooden like yardsticks are just gonna chip away sometimes, and it's just not fun, and you're not gonna get a nice even straight line. So I always just go for the metal ones. The metal ones are very durable and they last a long time. I've had this for a while, so definitely this is a go-to for me. Next, I have different types of, I have my kneadable erasers. I kind of split them sometimes because I only need a certain piece, and as well as a rubber eraser. And a lot of people like pink eraser. I like this rubber one. It definitely like picks up a little bit more, erases better. So I do like this one. I don't even know what brand it is, but I like it. And then of course my kneadables. You always need those because when you're drawing with your values, you're always going to need the kneadables because that helps pick up the excess as well as easily blends everything together, so that way you're not going to damage what you already have, as well as you don't have to swipe eraser endings. So I always go usually to my kneadable erasers. So next, this is kind of like in a grouping. So I've got, a lot of people call them differently. My teacher calls them tortillons and stubs. So I like these, and I have some excess here that I've already used for like pastels and stuff, as well as bulldog clips. And I just threw my cactus paper clips because I need those in class when you have something that you have to attach together and turn in for a homework assignment. So I have those. Now I'm gonna pull some out. So these are really great for blending, and you will use these a lot in class. I'm telling you now, these are going to be a lifesaver in your classroom, and they're very, I've only been able to, before I was, maybe you can get them on Amazon for cheap and just that, but they only come in bundles. So if you're looking for something, just one individual, you're gonna have to buy a bundle, but I think the bundles are like around $6. And bulldog clips, I got these actually on Amazon for another class that I took, and they were in a pack of like 50, and I just threw a few in here. I have another container specifically for my bulldog clips. Usually I use them for painting and holding them down to my clipboard, so those are definitely a must. And I know it may sound weird, but paper clips are going to be really important in your art class. Now I have cactuses because my goals, for some reason, their websites say that they have normal ones. They don't, and we barely found these, so I just chose the cactuses because I love cactuses. So yeah, so that's going to be a really, really important save in your art room. So then I have graphite sticks. Now I'm not sure if you might use them in class, you might not. These weren't really, I don't think these were on my supply list. I just had them and I put them in a separate baggie and put them here just in case, because you honestly never know when you're gonna need something. So I keep those on hand. I have, oh, and I also have another nail eraser because, like I said, things come in packs. So you are going to need, sometimes you'll have excess, and it's good to have something new, especially because mine are messed up. I just put my little pencil erasers in there. I have white charcoal, which is pretty much pastel, honestly, but I have them in stick form. I have a chamois. It is fairly used. I don't use this as much, but I do definitely use this in class when we're working with charcoal, or because I don't like getting my hands as dirty, so I prefer those. I have 2 of these in here, so these definitely come in handy. And this, so we do, usually at the end of the unit, we work with oil pastels, so I have tons and tons of oil pastels that I don't really use, so I kind of just stick them in a container, and I'm just gonna take these. I have tons of colors, no big deal. Just stuck them in there and stuck it in my art box. And this is also another really important thing that you will use: sandpaper. So I have had this high grit sandpaper from sculpture class when I was doing stone carving. Yeah, stone carving. And so I just threw these in here because I do like the grit to these. I got this in a pack at Walmart, and they were really large, and I just cut them to size, just stuck them to size so that I can use them. And also, you might have seen these in either drawing packs or whatever. You can also use these for your pencils as well, so I have both of these. So I'm going to kind of stick these back in here for now. And I'm also going to show you, I also kind of have a separate box. This is a normal pencil box because I can't fit my pencils in here. It's too crowded. This one's cool because it kind of it's one of those cool ones that you can move and like extend it. So I like that, especially if you want something deep, like if you have pencil shavings, whatever. So I'm gonna scoot this a little bit to the side. I have quite a few things in here. So of course, this is what you do. I like using these pencils because it helps me. You'll learn how to do this in class with an X-Acto knife and sandpaper, which is why you need those in your supply list. But I already did this to some of my pencils, so I just brought these. And you usually want your, your H's, your B's, and have like a different arrangement. So I have different arrangements of that, and I also have woodless graphite pencils, which I really like. And I also have an arrangement of this. And if you actually watch my art studio tour, you will see that I have tons of pencils, so I just kind of pick and chose a couple that I like. You will need these. So like, for example, so this is charcoal pencil, so you need a black, and you will need white charcoal pencils. So, which basically pastel pencils too. I prefer my charcoals in pencil form because I don't like my hands getting crazy. So if you don't either, these are really great substitutes. You're not going to have as much spreadability, so it might take you longer and you might go through a whole pencil compared to it, but you don't like getting dirty like me in that sense, with like your hands get all dirty and dry and gross. These are definitely a go-to. This might seem actually a little weird. So, Sharpies. Now, on the first day of class, specifically for me, we learned how to do, or we just worked with Sharpies and sketch paper, 18 by 24 sketch paper. So, I have these, and I have ultrafine for more detailed lines, so like thin lines, and then I have ultrafine, which is like your normal Sharpie. So these are definitely something you can use. Another substitute, if you also have it and you have the ability to use it, I love Faber-Castell markers, so I always have I throw a couple of them in here. So these are definitely another alternative that you can use too if you have. You don't have to go by the list, but to the T, but you'll have something there. So, and then actually I have, this is called a taper point color shaper. It's by Royal Sovereign. It's like a UK one, and basically it's just like a little, it feels kind of like an eraser, like a rubber kind of ending, and I have used this so many times for class. I love this thing for like all my other drawing, sketching classes to do a little bit of value, so this is definitely a go-to. And I actually use 2 different colored pencils. This is I got from my school. Ooh, I got from my school student store. So they're color coordinated. So this one's the blue mechanical pencil, and for my red, so that I know which one has which lead. So yeah, there's that. And of course I have pencils, highlighters, just in case I take notes. So yeah. I thought he was gonna come in here. So that's really in my haul. You can also get, so this is the thing, in your drawing class, of course you're gonna need paper. So I have 2 separate. I have an 18 by 24 sketch paper and 18 by 24 drawing paper. So I have it in my portfolio here, as well as a pretty much giant clipboard. I can pull out both of them together right here. See, this is a really big clipboard. You want it with a really big piece of drawing paper, so that way you can set it up like this in your classroom setting, and you can draw so that you can have it angled up towards you and you have a hard surface to work on, because for things like figure drawing and other things that you're working on, you want to be able to have it angled to you and not have it lay flat down, because it warps your vision. So these are always really great to have. And the 18 by 24 for my class is technically, honestly, it's a pretty small work surface. I definitely prefer working large because it's so much easier for me to do more detail. I'll show you an example of one of my homework assignments right here. It kind of gives me a little bit more detail to do with doing all of my work. So this is definitely going to be useful, and it is really pricey. I think for just the drawing paper it was $24, and then for sketch paper the same size, which is a lot thinner consistency, that was like $22. So you are going to definitely have to be pretty much out of your price range. They're talking, but yeah, so you'll definitely have to be out of your price range for it. But honestly, you're going to find that you like working on surfaces like this better. I definitely love working large, and now that I'm kind of like reverting back to doing some things that are small, it is hard to get detail, and I do not like it. So definitely say that working bigger is always better, especially when you have more surface and you have more things to really work on. So yeah, that is pretty much all I think I have. Oh, and of course, obviously, portfolio. I got a fabric one. I spent the $60 on a fabric one, but I will use it more. I am more more than happy to use it. So using a really good portfolio, I would suggest to invest in. You don't have to if it's out of your budget. Of course, they have cheaper, like $30, $20 ones, but if you are going to carry it, like I carry my clipboard in mine, so I just went with the fabric so that it would hold it. If you're going to just use paper, be prepared that you're going to be carrying a lot of stuff, and it's going to be a little bit of a struggle carrying everything with you from class to class. So it's just easier to keep everything in a portfolio, especially with your clipboard. If you get it, you know, sometimes you can't afford it, sometimes you can't. So it's also another thing that I would definitely suggest investing in, besides, oh, you kind of have to with the paper, but with your portfolio for sure. I definitely took the investment, and I'm glad I did, because my portfolio holds everything together. If it wasn't for a portfolio, everything would be like spilling out everywhere. So I would definitely suggest the fabricy ones with the good skirting handle too. But yeah, so that is my little haul. I am sorry I haven't posted very many videos lately. It's been kind of crazy. I am going to try to remember on Monday to take you along with me to class. we'll see how that works, because I have to wait about 4 or 5 hours for it. So I'm definitely going to show you guys how that works. But yeah, so thank you for coming along and listening to me talk about school supplies. And if you guys have any questions, definitely go down below, and I will definitely try to help you out as much as I can. Sorry. So have a lovely day, and I shall talk to you soon. Bye!